part. So if you all don't know, now you know. I joined Beachbody like 3.5 years ago ish, and Niki is my coach. And I joined her honestly not even knowing like her success in Beachbody. I just literally was Instagram stalking her, and Mark was the one who was like, if you're going to just continue to watch her, you might as well message her, because I'd be like, what is her workout? What is she doing? Da, da, da. Like I was like so like background like chirper. And her Draper and Willow are like, I don't know, 2 weeks apart, not even, or something. Like their birthdays are super close. So I was following her postpartum journey, and she was like getting ripped. And I'm over here like, what is she doing? What is she doing? So I followed her for really like 6 full months before I messaged her, because I felt I caught her at the end of her pregnancy and then through her postpartum till about, she was like 3 or 4 months postpartum. And finally, Mark was like, I'm really sick and tired of you talking about her. Cause I'm like, did you see what Niki posted? Did you see? And I made Mark buy me weights, free weights. And this was back in the day when you didn't have stories. So you posted like 3 times a day to your posts. And Niki always posted one of her videos of her workout. And it was always like a short little clip of like 3 moves or something in a pixel collage. And I would go home and do those moves with my weights and like just try my best to like mimic her. And finally Mark was like, you're obnoxious, just message her. And so I was like, okay. So that was Mark's Christmas gift to me, was a challenge pack. Yes, I wanted it. It was not like offensive to me. I wanted the challenge pack for my Christmas gift, and messaged her and got signed up for the challenge pack. And then she's been my coach obviously ever since. And she's really just encouraged me and really believed in me. And she never necessarily pushed me further than I wanted to go. It was kind of, run with the willing and all of that. And I definitely messaged her and was like, I want to run. And what does that look like? And we worked together. And she's either your upline, or maybe she's your upline coach, or even more so like great grandma coach, or whatever you want to call it. But if you don't know, she's a top coach. She's been an elite coach for, I think, 6 years straight. And she's an insane, like, just leader, and she's so down to earth and so cool. So I'm so pumped that she is going to talk to us tonight. And if you don't know, she's from Kentucky, so she's born and raised, and she's down home Southern girl, so she is down to earth. So
actually born and raised in West Virginia, then I came to Kentucky.
Right, but still, like, the Southern, country.
Yep.
So anywho, all right, Niki, that's enough of what I have nothing to say. So take it away, Niki.
That was the sweetest welcome. Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys hopping on tonight. I know you have so many other things you could be doing. So thank you for being on with us. But when I was talking to Sarah, I was like, what are we talking about? Like, what would be a good thing? We started talking about just a lot of times people struggles to jump all the way in, to kind of put a foot in but not go all the way in. And then, like, what does that look like? How do you balance life when it gets crazy and you have another job or you have multiple kids? And how do we treat it like a business when it's very easy to brush it off, especially when probably you sign up and you feel like other people might be judging you, or people aren't necessarily treating it themselves as a job. So it's important for us to know exactly what is this. There we go. Okay. Somebody's having a party. Okay.
She works at Vision. So
I see.
She probably has the like volume gone in Vision.
Yeah. Hey girl. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I do have some slides just to try to keep me on track so we don't have you guys all night long. So let me go ahead and do that. And I'm not gonna like do the full presentation. If you can see it the way it is, I'm just gonna like can you guys see that okay? Yes? Okay, cool. So tonight, I really just want to talk about maybe those who are on the fence, or maybe you've kind of dabbled a little bit in coaching, or what you think might be all in kind of vibe with coaching. And then maybe tonight you'll have a few aha moments of, that's not exactly full, like that's not what a full-time work is going to look like. That's not what getting me to my full-time hustle is going to do. This is not going to be, whatever it is for you, like whatever your goal is. We just need to make sure that we're treating this the way that it needs to be, so that we hit the goals that we've set up for ourselves, so that when we're reverse engineering, we're actually doing the things that are going to bring us to the goals that we want to get to. So she already kind of introduced me, and for those of you who don't know, I was a teacher in my previous life, and was teaching elementary school, and then I had my daughter and our first child, who is now 8.5. And when I started this business, I started as a challenger who was the world's worst. I didn't purchase a challenge pack. I got my DVDs from eBay and didn't need any supplements because those were too expensive. So that was kind of how I started. And when I did eventually sign up, I just signed on for the discount because that felt really safe to say. And that kept me from like, well, if I fail, I'd never really wanted it anyway. And so that was kind of my mindset. And I love talking on this because what a silly mindset for me to have when I had all the tools in front of me. So as soon as I signed up, I was like, this is crazy. I was talking to my husband. We knew what was possible. And he was like, why don't you just like go all in? Like, if you're going to do it, let's actually do it. And within that first 30 days, I got Shakeology and I started kind of rocking it. But yeah, I was a little bit of a nervous Nelly. So I sat a little bit on the fence, said no a few times before I finally said yes. And now living a life by design with freedom of time and able to work the business whenever I want with 3 babies. So I get that we're all busy, but this is so worth it if we can take a little bit of time to just do it. So let's see if we can stop sitting on the fence and go ahead and jump in. So we'll start with kind of talking about your mindset. And I want to start this way because, believe it or not, you guys, your mindset is literally controlling your business. When my coach first, like when I signed up, Beachbody was saying, you should do personal development. And my coach was like, what book are you reading? And I didn't think I needed that because I was like, that's just another thing. I don't have time for that. I'm going to do something else with that time. And what happened was I went so hardcore for so long. And then guess what I did? I burned myself out because I was filling up all the other cups. It's okay, you're going to be fine. I was patting this person on the back and you can do this and here's some tips for that, and giving people so many pieces of me outside of that, being, a mom and a wife and a friend and all these other hats that we wear. And I felt so drained, like just so empty, because I had given literally everything to everyone else and I had nothing left in me. And I don't want you guys to get to that place. If you have, it's okay. But just know that majority of people have been there. And I'm here to tell you that the mindset is going to change the game for you guys. So I want you to really dive into that and think about when you very first signed up, okay? Not like the scared, the times you say no, or the times you ignore the coach's message or whatever. But the moment that you saw a vision, you had a why, you had a reason that you were signing up for this side hustle, and what that excitement felt like. Because I can tell you guys from experience, I felt so excited for the possibilities. Like I felt like my life was starting. Oh my gosh, I got this piece of me now that is mine. This is not my children's. This is not my husband's. This is no one else's. This is mine, that I can control, that I can work on, that I can bust my butt in the nap time hours, the wee morning, the bedtime hours, so that I can get to a place that I can be proud of and say I did that. And so when I signed up, I was pumped. Was I scared? Yes. But I had pushed aside the fear of failure. I pushed aside the fear of judgment and all of those things in hopes that my why was going to get me to a place of, look what I did. And I could say to those people and the naysayers and all those things, look what I was able to do. And so what I think happens at some point is we start grinding and we start pushing towards, how do I get to Emerald? How do I get to Diamond? I need to run a challenge group. I got to hit Success Club. And all of a sudden, you're like, where's my excitement? Where did it go? And I want to remind you guys that that always needs to be at the forefront. Why do we at some point allow that to shift from excitement and joy to losing that joy, to taking that away and saying, I don't even want to do this right now. Like, what am I doing right now? It was my mind. It was my mindset. I was showing up and I was not putting the why in my vision in the forefront anymore. You know, I made the vision board in the beginning and all those things, but for some reason I lost that. And so I want to remind you guys, think about the joy and the excitement you had when you first signed up, what that felt like. What were the goals that you were going to crush? What were the recognition you were going to receive walking across stage at Summit? What was the trips that you were going to earn for, you know, hitting certain goals? What was the retreat that you were going to go to, or host yourself? Like, those are the big visions that you have when you sign up. And I don't want you guys to allow that to shift. So if you've allowed it to take a back seat, it's okay. But I'm going to ask you to put it in the front seat, strap its seatbelt on, and start moving towards that again. Finding that excitement when you first signed up for the business again, okay? So let's map out our mindset, because what happens is our mindset, when it starts to go crazy, tells me a few things. It says, back off, right? It says, I'm gonna stop talking to my team. I'm not gonna show up as much. I'm not gonna be on social media. I'm gonna just back away, right? I'm not gonna lean in. I'm definitely gonna pull back a little bit. My mindset tells me I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want people to be offended when I'm reaching out about a challenge group. What if they're offended that I'm inviting them to a challenge group? That was my mind. I was literally like, my gosh, what if they think that I think they need this for reasons other than I love it and I'm learning so much, you know? And so I didn't want to offend people. And so I wouldn't say certain things, or I wouldn't share certain things that I was passionate about because I was afraid of that. And I would get to a place of, well, I'll only talk about what's comfortable, which, guess what? It lumps you into a massive pool of other people just talking about what's comfortable. And it gets really boring. It doesn't separate you from anyone else. And you just become another fish in the sea. You're just another number. You're nothing different. You're not standing out in any way. And then it also tells me, share struggles. And so I was and successes. And I was kind of going back and forth, am I sharing too many struggles? Am I sharing too many successes? Is someone going to think they can't get this transformation? Is someone going to think I'm negative? I mean, my mind was like, let's just not post, because I don't really know what people want. So I was thinking constantly, I was in my head constantly, what is so-and-so going to think? Was really how my mind was working. This is the beginning of my journey. But your mindset starts to flip when you jump in. Instead of backing off, you lean in. When I've been in this business for maybe 8 years in May. That's crazy. So I'm a grandma, definitely a grandma in this business. But I will tell you that I've seen it all. I have seen everything. I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows. There was a struggle for me for a little bit in 2016 through 2017. We transitioned from DVD based to Beachbody on Demand. And we went from selling $119 just insanity DVDs to here's $99 Beachbody on Demand. You get everything. And I was like, what? How do we share this? How is this gonna work? And fear set in a little bit. And you know what happened with coaches that were scared? They didn't lean in. Instead of leaning into their team, finding people who wanted to run with them, allowing energy to feed off that energy, the good energy, they backed off. They backed off from their business. They stopped doing the consistent things. They stopped doing, the things behind the scene that move your business forward, those business activity tracker daily things. They stopped helping people where they were and started to feel, resentment maybe for their business. And then the mindset started to flip when I was like, okay, you're going to learn as you go, right? I at first thought, well, I'm not going to learn as I go. I'm going to learn it all first. You guys, if you're sitting there like, I'm going to take all the notes, go through every training, I'm going to learn every single thing because I don't want to not know the answer to a question when someone asks me, you will never start this business. You will never run in this business. You will never take off in this business. Stop allowing your unknowns to keep you from taking off in this business. I literally had people who were, I hit diamond. I had someone right behind me that was almost diamond. And I remember being like, let's just do it together. Let's learn together. Let's be success partners together. Like my very first few coaches were just naturally success partners with me. They'd ask me a question. I don't know, girl, but let's figure it out. We Googled it. We got in team pages. We went in coach pages. We went to the FAQ. We started to learn as we go. And guess what? If someone asks you a question in your inbox and you don't know the answer, you hit unread, and then you figure out the answer and you come back. You're never going to have all the answers. I Googled things today about the business. So it's 8 years in and here we are. So stop waiting to know it all and learn as you go, okay? The other thing is your mindset flips when you can relate to others on your journey. I was like, well, I'm going to need this massive transformation first. How many people have said that? I mean, I don't have abs. I don't have a huge transformation. I'm not making a ton of money yet. How could I share? Because I don't make six figures. That's like, so what am I supposed to say? Right? A lot of people say those things. You are 100% more relatable on your journey than when you get to the destination. The hope is that you never get to the destination, that you always have new goals, that you always have things that you're working towards. But I can promise you that I had more conversation, more people interested in talking to me, more people coming to me when I needed to lose the 50 pounds postpartum than when I lost the 50 pounds and felt like I was in really great shape. Oh, she's always been petite. That's just how she is, right? So do not think that you are not going to be approachable, relatable, and inspiring while you're on your journey. You don't have to have the transformation in order to inspire people, in order to have a team, in order to have success in this business, okay? Your mindset starts to flip when you start to share small wins. And I kind of shared that before. I don't know, I was on a call the other day with a coach. Well, I'm not making six figures yet, so like, how can I talk about what this has done for me? How many people do you think sign up for a side hustle for no money, right? We're all trying to earn an income, and that's okay, right? It's okay to talk about money, believe it or not. Here's the thing. I felt more relatable in the times when I said, I was able to pay for my groceries this week. I was able to pay for utilities for the month for the first time with my money, with my income from coaching. I was able to take my daughter to Disney and myself, for that matter, because I had never been as a child either, with my coaching income. I was able to pay my mortgage one month. Those things are so huge. I was able to buy shoes without guilt. Like, you guys, it can be anything. The small wins are going to be inspiring to the people who want the side hustle. They're looking for the side hustle for a reason. Okay, so share those wins, share all of those things, because at some point, you know, my vision, my big vision was build our dream home. And that has happened. But there are so many people who are like, I don't know if I could get there. You know, it's like it's harder almost to share once you've been doing it for so long. But in those small wins, people feel like that's me. That's where I am currently. That's what I need. Needs versus wants. And so those things are big wins. And then the mindset flips, you guys, when you do the work, plain and simple. Okay? I can promise you right now, some of you are probably having guilt about your business. You're probably feeling a kind of way about your business, and the negativity creeps in, and the comparison creeps in, and all those things creep in when you're simply not doing the work. So if I could get myself to show up, okay, especially like, you know, baby number 2, Willow was born, and I was like, oh, we're not sleeping. We're not sleeping again. So what am I supposed to do here? So I got out Miracle Morning for network marketers because I was told, continue to do personal development. Make sure it's focused on your struggles. And my struggle at the time was working my business in pockets of time when my kids weren't crazy. So I got Miracle Morning for network marketers. I am not a morning person. Still not. Don't love it. But I was getting up early when the sun was not up, before my kids were up, and I was working my business when it was quiet because it was the only moment that I had to think straight. And you know what started to happen? Even in the hard years, when I was talking about that, like 2016, 2017, when things got a little weird for me, my business didn't really shift all that much because I leaned in, because I continue to try to relate to others on my journey, because I continue to share wins, and I put in the freaking work behind the scenes when other people backed away. I put in the work when I was tired, plain and simple. I mean, I get it. Like, there's so many, there's so many other things you could be doing. But how empowering did I feel at 6 a.m. when my day was done? I had checked everything off, and then I could be mom and wife and do all the things. And basically, I was just kind of like filling in the gaps here and there. I was answering questions sometimes throughout the day, but I had done the work and I felt good. And nobody can take that from you. And that takes your grind and your hustle and you just showing up in moments when maybe other people aren't. There were plenty of people on my team that were not willing to do that work. But that wasn't me. And that was not where my business was headed, and that was not my vision. And so, comparison there was, I'm going to outwork people, was kind of my mindset. And so once my mindset flips, or your mindset flips, then your new mindset leads to these things. All of a sudden, you're starting to feel empowered, like I said, right? You feel empowerment in the things that you're doing. You've got a thing for you and only you. And it's pretty freaking cool to watch that start to happen and come alive and grow. You start to have belief in what you're doing. And instead of not wanting to offend people, so you don't send the message, it's, this changed my life. Why would I not send that to that person? Why would I not invite that person to coaching? Why would I not invite them to a challenge group? Because I didn't have the balls to, excuse my language, to reach out to my coach. She reached out to me. And I don't know that Beachbody would be in my life if it weren't for her. So I always think of myself when I think about believing in what you're doing. She genuinely loves Beachbody and she loved what was happening and she wanted to share that with me. And I'm thankful every day that she did. You will have a gravitating energy, right? I mean, I'm not a huge like woo-woo type of person. I've never been one of those people because I'm like, no, it's just work, right? It's just like hard work. But I also believe that energy breeds energy. And I do 100% believe that you surround yourself with people that bring a good energy and you are going to feel like you need to level up. You're going to feel like, I'm here for it, let's go. And if you put yourself in a situation with the negatives, the ones who are always complaining and coming to you with the things that aren't working, that energy is going to be felt. But when your mindset shifts, you're leaning in, you're doing the work, you're doing all these things where the mindset's flipping, your energy is going to pull people to you. People are going to feel it. They're going to feel it through your screen. They're going to feel it in your stories. They're going to feel it in your transformation photos. They're going to feel it in all the things. And it's going to bring people to you. And that's what we want, you guys. We want to go from a constant invite mode to finding that attraction, the attraction market, where people are starting to come to you because they've watched you for so long and they've seen you do it. They're ready to go. You're going to lead to a successful business. You're going to wake up one day and be like, oh, I mean, I have runners. I have people working this business with me. Because I can tell you, even at Diamond, I didn't really feel like I had many people that wanted to work this business. And that's a struggle. It's a struggle as like a new and upcoming leader. Like, am I going to find people that want to do this with me? The answer is yes, but the numbers have to be there. You know, it's going to be a one in however many are going to actually put in work in this business. But that new mindset is going to bring that successful business to you. You're going to start to find your tribe. You're going to start to find the people that are your niche, your go-to, like that have your same, you know, thoughts and feelings about this business, and they want it. And you're going to have that community that so many people crave. And then that new mindset is going to lead to growth overall as a leader. You know, you're going to see ups and downs, ebbs and flows. You're going to go through it, and you're going to see incredible growth in yourself as a leader that's going to just spew into all aspects of your life. So, okay, got it, Nikki, cool, jumping, going over the fence. Now, how do I balance it? What do we do? How do I get there? So, and these are so basic, you guys, but like these are 4 things that I would say. How do we balance it? I'm going to tell you time management. I'm going to tell you business hours. I'm going to tell you eating the frogs and power hours. Okay. So time management, and these kind of all flow together, but time management is simply making the most of your time. And you've probably seen it before. If you were going to a 9 to 5 and your boss was watching you put in your work that you're currently doing, would you fire you? Like if you were your own boss, would you continue to allow yourself to work this business, or would you have fired you because you're just really not doing it? And that for me was like, okay, I'm gonna like not want to fire myself. I need to like step up my game. So making the most of your time, you guys, and that is going to come with these following things. Setting business hours. When you plug in, plug in. Plug in. Dial into the things. I'm going to talk about it on another slide in a minute, so I'm not going to dive deep into this slide, but be plugged in. And when you're unplugged, truly unplug, okay? Like when you leave your 9 to 5, bye, see you later, out the door, and you move on to the next thing, and you are all in with whatever that is, hopefully. And so that's what I want you guys to do. What are your hours going to be? When are you going to actually work your business? If you've got a day job, what's that going to look like for you? What do you need to be doing so that you have specific business hours? And maybe each day is different, you know? And I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well. Eating the frog. If you've ever read Eat That Frog, then you know where this came from. But it basically is doing the forward moving things first, the things that you don't want to do first. So you could be busy, busy, busy bee. You get on your power hour and you're like, oh, I'm gonna add a few friends. I'm gonna like check into this challenge group and like see what my post is gonna look like. Those are all the easy things, but the things that are gonna move my business forward are gonna be adding to my network, inviting, following up, all the things I don't want to do. Those are the things I need to do first on the BAT, or your power hour, whatever that looks like for you. Do those things first, check them off, get them out of the way, breathe, move on, okay? Then you're gonna feel good, like I said, moving forward. And then power hours. You guys, stop scrolling during your power hours. Stop comparing yourself to the coach you signed up when you did. Stop it and start doing the business activities consistently. Point blank, period. An hour of work is so much work if you're truly doing the work. You know, when I was doing that miracle morning for network marketers, I was like, oh my God, look at me go. Like getting all this stuff done in like 45 minutes was shocking. And it was also a very big wake up call to how much time I wasted when I would look at actual time. I was just scrolling on social media platforms and it was not moving my business forward. It was just causing me to compare what I was and wasn't doing. So stop doing that. Start doing the business activities consistently. So work hours. Basically ask yourself, what days are you going to do what activities? So for me, I have more days that are like some days that are more front loaded. And then, like I said, some days that are catch up days. And then some are completely off days. I have a sitter now, did not have that when I first started, did not have that with our second child. Had it halfway through with Willow, that's my second daughter. Was like, I need some like me time outside of just trying to fit it in during naps because she was a terrible napper. So I started to get a sitter. I have a sitter now 3 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, front loaded days. I'm like one-on-one calls, follow-ups, inviting, posting all the things, getting it done. Organization, team-led stuff, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I don't have that after that. So I've got 3 kids. And so Thursday is very much, you know, it's our payday. That's a recognition day for me. It's a catch-up day, clearing out or answering messages as I can. Friday looks a lot like that as well. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'm not working. And maybe you do. Maybe your days are different. Maybe those times are different for you. But that's kind of how my week goes. It's very front loaded and then it just like kind of tapers off towards the end. And how will you separate the time? Okay. Because like I said, it needs to be an unplug and plug. So create your boundaries. Create the boundaries. For me, and I know everybody is different. When I was smaller team, text messages were great. When there's 200 PS coaches, text messages didn't work because it was too much. There was no separation between my personal life and my work life. And so I had to say immediately on a new coach call, here's how you contact me. Here's the best way for us to chat. And it's not because I don't love them, but I just need separation between, they have to be reminded this is work, and you know, and it just had to be a separation of that. Having a system, obviously, app controls. And so I say this because I see so many coaches when I'm like hanging out with them and it's like Instagram, Facebook, all the TikTok, all these notifications, ding, 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 ding. And then you pick up your phone, even when these are not work hours. So guess what I did? I turned off TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. There's no notifications for me whatsoever until I open that app and say, now it's time to put in work, because that is work for me. Social media is work. So that's kind of where my boundaries, that was a boundary for me. Like, okay, I'm more likely to not pick up my phone and be present with my family, my kids, my husband, if I don't have those notifications turned on. That's what worked for me. And again, like treating it like a true office job. And then you guys, discipline over motivation. And I get the question more often, probably with workouts, how do you find motivation? I wish I had your motivation. Those are said very often. And I have to say, I'm not like super motivated all the time. I'm not like wanting to dive in to my business all the time, especially when things aren't going great. So it's really easy to do the things that move your business forward. It is equally as easy as your own boss to not do those things. So it's going to be really important for you guys to, instead of using the word motivation, it should turn to discipline. You know, when I'm in my postpartum journey, or I'm focused on nutrition, or I'm working towards a goal in my business, it's really not motivation every day. It's discipline. It's just being disciplined in your like everyday actions to actually get things moving forward. And then there's going to be non-negotiables. You're going to see different coaches say different things, and this will change. This percentage is different based on seasons of hustle and seasons of flow. You know, if I'm working towards elite in a certain quarter of the year, then this is going to be maybe a little bit different. But especially at diamond level below, I would say 80% of time is spent doing non-negotiables I set for myself. The other 20% is focusing on team activities, team calls, one-on-ones, helping the team, okay? Not that some of my time that I'm spending on my own business can help the team. Maybe I'm creating documents and things like that that end up, you know, being able to use, but 80% of that time is spent doing the non-negotiables that I've set for myself. It is not selfish to show up for yourself first, okay? We have put, I mean, especially if you're a mom or just really anything, everybody can has something they can insert there that we feel like it has to be selfless all the time. It is not selfish for you to show up for yourself first. That is showing people the way. That is showing your team the way. That is doing it. That is leading by example. And the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. And so for me, I'm showing up. I'm working out. I'm drinking my Shakeology. I'm sharing supplements. I'm on launches. I'm getting in a glance group, and I'm inviting to the coaching opportunity 8 years in. I don't have to do those things. But if I want my business to move forward, I know that the same people that got me where I was or are not going to be the same people that keep me there, okay? Believe it or not, you're going to have people that decide this isn't for them, and that is okay. I'm here to tell you that is okay. You're going to find the ones that it is for. You're going to find the lifers. You're going to find those people. But it is not selfish for you to first show up, show them the way, do the things, because I want those things duplicated. I want my coaches being a product of the product. I want them inviting. I want them doing personal development. I want them doing the 4 vital behaviors. And I'm not going to sit there and say, do these things, but I don't do them. That doesn't make any sense. So make sure that you are putting your business in the forefront and then leading that other percentage with the team. So that means, I hope you guys got the gist by now. There's a lot of unsexy things happening behind the scenes in this business. Success Club trips, super cool. Look at me in Punta Cana on a diamond retreat on a catamaran. Cool. I did my makeup today for the first time in like, I can't even tell you how long. I probably get ready twice a week, real talk. So when the real is real, are you showing up even if others don't know? Are you diving further than the surface level things like, hey, here's my shake? Are you diving further than the surface level to build a true business? Did you send some invites? Did you invite to the coaching glance group that your team offered? Did you do the things that are going to get you to that vision board and that excitement that you had when you first signed up for this business? Because most of the stuff as an entrepreneur is not sexy. It's not cool. Like, it's just like the grit. It's the work that has to be done behind the scenes. And that's awesome. We can sit here in our pajamas and do work, you know? But they see a smidge of what goes on, but like all of the hard work behind the scenes has to be done. It can't be like a fake it kind of thing. You got to be doing the work. So if you push past the feeling of being scared, you can get yourself past that feeling of being afraid, you know, taking that risk, being judged, really amazing things can happen with your business. So this is your reminder. This is your daily reminder, guys. This was me on stage at Summit for the second time speaking at Summit. Like, what? I never, when I signed up for the discount after saying no, scared, buying eBay, like, never did I see the vision quite that crazy. And it is, I'm here to remind you guys, you can have literally anything that you want in this business. There are no extra special people. There are no people like, most people are not like going viral and all those things. They're just putting in the work behind the scenes to slow and steady build this eventually empire if you want that. So remind yourself of your why often. Remind yourself that you're building something bigger than you. You're leaving a legacy behind. You're leaving something behind for your family to be proud of, for you to be proud of. You are bringing people into something that can change their life. And remind yourself that nothing worth having is going to come without some kind of work behind the scenes. So, sis, it's time to level up. It's time to put in the work, to do the unsexy things, to make your original mindset, excitement, dream, vision, goals, all the things come to life. It doesn't matter if you've been sitting on this little gem, this hidden gem for years. And you're like, I gotta push past this. It doesn't matter if you're brand spanking new and you're ready to run. I want you guys leveling up. Put yourself with other like-minded people. Get on the team power hours. Get a success partner. Grab somebody who wants to do this with you and level up with them. Ask them to bring energy. That energy is gonna be contagious. It's gonna be felt, and you're gonna find your tribe. I promise. So that is all that I have today.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see the chat until just now. I don't know what was going on. I think because I was sharing my screen. So
I can definitely attest to a lot of the things you said. Just comparison can suck you dry. The people that you think are going to be with you don't stay with you or don't keep going with you. Consistency is key. Share it all, you don't have to necessarily be vulnerable, but you have to be authentic. And I think that that's two different things. I think people get scared that they have to be super vulnerable. You don't have to be vulnerable. You just have to be authentic,
Yeah, I think your ability to be genuine is going to shine overall. I mean, you can get ideas from other coaches, absolutely. Things that you feel like are your vibe, like definitely do those things. Gain inspiration from them, but you're going to find your own little niche. Like we were talking about it on our retreat, and Brittany Leggett spoke a little bit more. She had spoken on our team call a few weeks back on like a micro niche and like really dialing in on like your little thing and being genuine in that. And I mean, for her, it's as micro as IVF. Like it's all that she shares right now is just her IVF journey. And she's got, that might feel like a very small group, but in reality, when you're thinking of Instagram, there's a lot of people there. There's a lot of people there that she can serve and help and bring value to on that platform. So maybe start thinking about like, what is that? What can I bring outside of, the workout video every day and all of that? Like, what is going to be my thing? I mean, to be honest, after that call was like, I kind of need to figure out mine. It needs to be brought down to a smaller scale. So I haven't quite figured that out either, but something to be thinking about.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, I'm glad you talked all about the unsexy stuff. I mean, you see a coach posting her pictures or you see a coach posting stuff on her stories and you're like, oh, this is what she does. And you're like, yeah, but you're also not seeing the 80% of the work that she's doing behind the scenes. She's not just posting her workout and then all of a sudden hitting SC50. That's not what she's doing. she's in her inbox, messaging people, talking to people, having conversations with people, following up with people, having that email thread that she's downed and like gotten down pat with her Google streak, and like she figured Google streak out. Like, it's not like someone hands you this book and it's like, this is exactly how you do it. You figure it out and then you do it your own way. And I think that that's like a good thing. And also like kind of this like where you have to step into the leadership role of it, right? So it's like, it's totally your thing, but no one's going to hold your hand and make you do it. So definitely having that mindset of, where's your hours that you're putting in? Where are you going to make the business fit your lifestyle? Where are you going to commit to the non-negotiables? And then putting in the work. I mean, that's plain and simple where it is. So, if you're talking to your upline, I remember getting on a one-on-one call with Niki and being like, I'm really struggling with getting coaches. Like, I'd love to grow my team. And she was like, are you talking about coaching? And I was like, no. And she was like, are you inviting to coaching? Like, or have you had a sneak peek? And I was like, no. She was like, you're not doing the work. Like, you're not doing the work that needs to be done if that's what you're wanting. Like, what are you wanting and out of the business or in the business or currently with your business? And it doesn't have to be a 5-year goal right now. What are you hoping for in the next 3 months to be consistent in Success Club for the next 3 months? Okay, then what are going to be your goals the next 3 months are talking to people about your up and coming program that you're going to start, or your up and coming challenge group that you're getting ready to start. Or that is where you need to be having the conversations. Yeah. And then if you're coming back to me or your upline coach and being like, yeah, I talked to 5 girls, I'd be like, 5 girls, 5. I mean, I'm glad you're talking to 5, but if you're wanting to hit Success Club consistently for 3 months straight, you have got to talk to more than just 5 people in a month.
Yeah. And you don't want to overwhelm. I'm also not a Carl invite 100 people a day kind of gal. Because yeah, I don't know that we all could do that every day, but the idea is that we're having enough conversations that we're hitting our goals monthly, and then the ones who decide that it's not for them right now end up almost in this like little wheel pattern of like maybe later, and then those people start to come around. The ones that you've had the conversations with and you truly planted seeds with, literally, then it starts to come to fruition months down the road, and they say yes. And it was the same with like, I think again, when my coach asked me and I was like, no. And then it was no. And then it was like, oh, maybe let me talk to my husband. Yes. And it just went in this pattern. But like, if you're not constantly having conversations, then you will run out of, people to talk to, and people that, when people are like, I just don't have anybody to talk to. I'm like, well, that literally stems from not inviting or just simply adding to your network and starting conversations. You don't have to be like, hey, girling and inviting people and like doing this right away. This is just simply like, I'm adding to my network genuinely people that I want to follow, that I feel like I mesh with, that I have something in common with. I'm going to start having these conversations with people in their stories. I'm going to start responding to their stories, because that story is going to lead to a DM where we start to have a conversation, so that I pop up in their stories when they're looking and scrolling. And so when I do decide to invite to something, they see it and they are intrigued, or, it's not like left field when we have a conversation kind of thing.
Yeah. And even today I did a poll this morning on like who eats breakfast. Like, I mean, it has nothing to do. I mean, I guess kind of, because it's nutrition, but like, and I just went through every single person that answered that poll and was like, yes, me too. I love breakfast. What's your go-to breakfast meal right now? So I ended it with a question, so that way they'd get back to me. And a lot of, honestly, the people that answered that poll, I have yet to have a conversation with them. Like, that was our first thing in our thread. So it's a touch point for me to now go back to that conversation and be like, hey, not sure if you know, but I have a new group starting in April or whatever. Like, I've now initiated a conversation with them. We are now talking, and we now have like a place to come back to. And it's not like just this one-off message from them. You know what I mean? So again, it just is a way to have a new conversation with somebody that I would have never had an initial conversation with them. how do I randomly just start talking to them if they don't have a story going or a recent post going, or something like that. So it just is an easy way to start engaging with new people through polls or through something like that. Again, just
And
to
polls and like those action items where you slide up, any of those action things are big for the algorithm right now too. So using those things is important, as far as like if you want to grow your Instagram, hopping on the Reels train. Sarah's the best at showing y'all that. She's got hilarious ones. I'm like, I don't want to do Reels, but Reels is what has brought me new followers over the last couple months. So it's just like what I got to do because I know that it's working. Also, if you guys want, side note, totally unrelated, if you guys are seeing your story views down on Instagram right now, we were just talking about this in the leadership page. If you choose a day, like maybe a day where you're not really working your business, and just ghost your stories for 24 hours, let them play all the way through until you have no stories showing anymore, and then show up again, it has helped greatly as far as views. My views are back up because they were like almost chopped in half. So yeah, side note, but always learning, always growing.
Yeah, if you all are in the team page, I shared that little tip. So sharing the good news with everybody. Don't hold anything in. I'm telling everybody everything.
I know. No magic sauce, really. It's just,
yeah.
And that's why I love this. Like we can share. I mean, when the teamwork literally makes the dream work. So this is like one of the only businesses I know where people are like truly coming to bat for everybody, because when you win, I win. When I win, you win. It's, I don't know, all hands on deck kind of thing.
Totally. Well, I really appreciate you